compared to just the one this side. This can get very messy, as you've probably seen through the winter. So this is hopefully that we'll still get the feed for the cattle, condition the soil, do bits for the birds and the wildlife and ecosystems, and still manage to farm. So that's kind of, and it looks so much better, doesn't it? And if there's more, a lot of this like will die off and go to the surface, and hopefully keep the cows out of the ground. And the cows will tread it into the ground. But we see like different bees still out in the sunflowers. There's so many here in the daytime. Our terrier goes mad in this plot. It's full of it. Not even bothered about that plot. So that tells you the difference straight away. The long-term aim of this, obviously, we want to obviously have a better image as farmers, doing more for the soil, more for the environment, better for animal health. But the other side, we'll tell the difference. We're going to do half and half cattle, move it up through the winter, and then we'll tell the difference. In the long-term aim, we're trying to get this as a stewardship option, so this will be seen all over the country instead of seeing cattle shut in sheds. A lot of breeds probably have to be in the sheds because they're bred wrong, but the Devons, Grandad kept Devons here out all the time, bring back the native breeds, and they're quite hardy. And actually, although it looks, as long as you're not damaging the soil too much and the runoff isn't too much, then you're actually improving the soil health. Whereas leaving this will be fine for 3 kids in the winter. There's the game. It's hide and seek in a minute. But yeah, so the long-term aim is basically to see this on the stewardship option. So farmers will actually be encouraged by being paid, obviously, to actually grow it. I think I'd probably now put it in regardless if you're being paid or not after you've been put it in. It's not very dear. I think it worked out 35, 36 pound an acre. The seed, that side was 40, 45. So actually we've it's probably worked out.
You would have saved that on.
Is this for the cows as well?
Yeah, and also I was saying to James there just a minute ago, when we planted it, we've never had a problem with flea beetle, but we never usually have any sun in Nowston. We planted it on the 4th of June and it did get hammered with flea beetle. That side got hit very hard, and the radishes, if there's any leaves left, not really any left. But that was all leaf, like the other side, but the radish just got hit by the flea beetle, so we weren't worried about that. So that was almost a deterrent for the flea beetle. So instead of coming in here with pesticides and insecticide and just spraying it, we've now know that radish is good for flea beetle. So every crop now, when I put a brassica in, I'll add a radish, so I save a spray. And I was saying also that there's a lot of cabbage butterflies in here which aren't exactly great, but if we came in here with an insecticide early on, we wouldn't have them obviously, but we'd also, the predators of those, we'd have wiped them out as well. And somehow the common things like the cabbage butterfly seem to thrive even though farmers are spraying them off. So if you're killing the predator, then that's probably the problem. So I'm thinking hopefully as time goes on, the predators will get stronger for the cabbage butterfly, and then that will probably be kept to a lower standard to let the other butterflies thrive. But they still look quite good coming out. The sunflowers have no nutritional value for the animals, but great for the bees, and they look very nice. They're just a happy plant, aren't they? It made me so happy when the first one came out. We planted them around our pond last year, and I say they got no nutritional value, and our cows seem to eat them off, as well as so did our sheep in Rachel's garden, I think, didn't they, Rach?
Yeah. But it's the same seed as
Yeah.
they're oilseed. They're oilseed, Richard. They're full of oil. They're full of protein.
Yeah.
You'll buy sunflower meal to put in your cattle rations.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, though, there's good value. There's
But by
people.
the time they come to graze in the winter,
Yes.
they'll be just a.
Well, have the seed.
It could be a dead mess. It could,
Yes,
it could go to seed. Next
Yes.
year, it could be absolutely riddled with
Yeah.
sunflowers and everything. We're hoping that will last for the winter, but there'll be nothing left after that. It'll be ready to reseed. Whereas this side, we're hoping that we got some perennial seed in here, so we're hoping that it'll go another season. So then we're not disturbing the soil so much, and we're improving the soil structure and everything in the time being. However, if we have a really wet winter, that could go wrong.
Rich, what about hard food? Like how much, is there any like proteins in it or stop you having to feed so much hard food?
So we've got to do a dry matter test before we start the winter. So basically we got to cut a certain size and then shove it in Laura's microwave and see the dry matter. So we can test the dry matter, and then we'll know what we need to feed the cattle, if we have to feed the cattle, if it's better either side. I don't know if it will be any better for the daily growth rates. I think they'll probably be quite similar, but they'll hopefully have more to lie on, and they'll be out of the soil. We're hoping that minimal extra feed. It'll probably be just a bale of hay rolled along the feed fence, which in turn, what they don't eat, they'll trash and then help the microorganisms. All in all, it's more for improving the soils. I was just showing Roger, because Roger's very professional with soil health and everything else. So I was showing him the analysis of the soil, and we're going to test it at the end. So hopefully we'll improve our nutrients without paying any money to another company. That's the aim. That's the aim. But all our whole farming system in the past, we've been farming it for generations, and I've been at college, and they don't teach you anything about the soil. They don't teach you. Nobody wants to teach you it because there's no money in it. So like the spray firms, the fertilizer firms, they're quite. There's a lot of money in it for those firms. Obviously, we need to use certain amounts that are good, but if we can survive, we need to cut our inputs. And the fertilizer price is now £900 a tonne. Last year it was 195. Last year we put 40 tonnes of nitrogen on. So to find that money this year, it was just not viable to do. So we're looking at different, all over the farm. I'm doing different crazy little trials, and Dad thought I lost the plot.
That's what you said anyway.
Yeah, but we're hoping that it's about looking after the soil, surviving and thriving all at the same time, really, isn't it?
One question, are you cutting this or are you grazing it out?
We're grazing it out.
Out here?
Yeah. So we probably would usually do a cut of grass and then drill the brassicas. We all got a bit excited and put it in the beginning of June. However, with the weather we've had, was probably the right thing to do. We drilled this 4th of June. We've had 35 mil-ish up until this last week. So to see anything in this field is a blessing, really. The soil must have been pretty wet because it has grown. We had enough to establish it, and then the rest has gone.
Yeah.
Put this then in sort of March, April to get on with. Would you think about putting it
No,
earlier?
I would drill it now. Like the last 3 weeks, July really.
Right.
Try and take a cut, 2 cuts of grass, and then drill it. Obviously the sunflowers and everything would be a month later. Some things in there might have gone too far, but we're hoping that will all go down and then the brassicas will all come up. So then maybe we have done right by drilling it so early. In New Zealand, similar trials have been done and they've planted theirs fairly early, and some of their crops are up like taller than you, which I'm not looking forward to if I'm electric fencing it.
Are you going to strip graze it then?
Yeah, so I have to be. We've got to, for the trial. To be fair, we need them in here for 60 days. So the number of cattle will be a small number, which is hence why I've gone the longest way than the narrow. We'll have a fence right up the middle and put lots of plots basically up through.
And that's just on this side.
No, both sides.
Both sides.
So they're going to be. It's going to be
separate in each.
separate cattle in each side. So there'll be. We'll work it out how much dry matter is in it, how many cattle we can get away with in here, and but it has to be for 60 days. So yeah,
So the weight is going to be the result of which.
The weight gain will be the result of the, depending on what cattle we put here.
Yep.
If we put weanlings, we obviously want weight gain. If we put yearlings, we want weight gain. If we put suckler cows, we just want maintenance. So we just want their weight to consist and not get over fat for calving. So we're not sure which type of animal we're putting in here yet. But not only that, there's 4 of us doing the trials. So there's one, Tom Armitage, doing the trial in Brendan Hills, George Greed in the Land of the Living down in Crediton, and Chris Barry at Ken Ford. And
You've got some very dry areas.
yeah, so some 2 very dry areas and 2 wet areas. However, we've got a crop now, but it might be a mess in the winter. But they've got no crop now, and will be very tidy in the winter. So it'll be, it'll be very.
They're going to come round twice then. Do you think it's going to be wet? Are you hopefully they're going around more than once, or can they destroy
The cattle. So the aim for this side is to be regrazed in the spring, but that side will not be able to be regrazed because
But sorry, like the other field, they go round and round and round. This is going to eat it once and that's done, or hopefully you'll go round again if there's.
Yeah, this side we're hoping to go round again.
You don't want to kill it too much.
Don't know. Well, we're hoping not to kill it at all.
Yeah. Okay, too much. Yeah.
So we're hoping not to kill it at all, but we're going to add if it does. Some things won't survive, and half of them are only annuals anyway, so they won't go on. Like the oats, different things, sunflowers obviously, but they'll go reseed. I suppose they might come next year. It depends how well. Hopefully they'll come next year. The clovers will be fine. The ryegrass will come again. The chicory and plantain depends on the temperature of the winter.
I think they're living in cloud cuckoo land because it'll be trash. You're a bloody cynic, John.
You mean like rain
somewhere after October?
This is nice though.
You're nearly Roach Hill.
The difference, I guess to make it fair trial, we've obviously got to move it on all the time, whereas there, we want to trash that, ready for a reseed, whereas this side we don't want to. So then to make it a fair trial, they'd nearly outlive on that longer, won't they? Because there'll be a lot more grub maybe, but it depends how well this comes on. But we don't want to keep them here too long that they trash it. So maybe we just run them both through fast and come back through, clear up. Because some will regrow, even the brassicas will regrow, the kale will regrow.
But the idea is the same number of bullets
Each side, yeah. Yeah, but you can run them. You can run them around both times though.
Yeah.
You could run them twice.
But
Though.
you needed people round him.
It's good what you say is good. Yeah.
Safe delivery.
Just a round of applause.
This is like every farmer-son relationship.
Yeah. Should we go back a bit, back to March?
Yeah.
In March, we were grazing the grass fields like we'd always do, set stocked. Fertiliser price was high and everything else, and cake price was soaring, so that has doubled. So I was like, we're not going to feed anything after lambing. Dad said we have to. Mum said we have to. I said okay. You feed your half, I'll feed my half. And I went and spent my money on an electric fence system. And I went round and I started doing a rotational graze system and moving the sheep every couple of days, and they had fresh grass and everything else. After 3 weeks, Dad thought that was a brilliant idea, so he did the same.
A week,
I think it was a week.
Good.
So he can come round to the idea.
What about the verges on the road?
Yeah, that's
The
right.
road is they seem to be grazing those as well.
What about like how worried are you about energy costs?
We don't have massive of energy because we're not milking cows. Energy prices aren't stupid for us. Obviously, it's a worry for everyone else and us at home. But as a farm, our units wouldn't be stupid, would they? They would be enough, but we might go outdoor lambing. We might do different things, reduce the medicines.
I think a communal windmill would be
I've already.
Yes, agreed. Yes. Yeah. And a communal biodigester, John.
saying that very same thing. Was it?
Yes.
I would need that in writing if that comes yeah, he said 20 here. You can see them from the top.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think there's a lot more can be done.
You haven't got a price cap of it for a business, whereas consumers have got a price cap.
Yeah.
So like, there's no protection for businesses at all.
No.
She'll just run off his home account.
So we are letting all our hedges up, and I've got a biomass boiler. Dad will have a biomass boiler in due course when sometime. If with oil. So then we harvest the wood. We gradually let the hedges up. We've got trees here coming, so we can just snip them off. Pick the trees that we want to take out the hedgerows, and that will get harvested. So we will be sustainable in that effect. Probably have more wood than we can burn because it's so efficient. Electric depends which way we're going to go down the road. If we're going to go out wintering, out stocking, we could get rid of a lot of our machinery. The cattle do all the grazing, they do all the dung, they do all the bedding, they do, and we keep moving it around the farm. Or we carry on as we are in the sheds, which means we can have a higher stocking rate, but we got all that extra cost. So then we got all the machinery, the value, and hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of kit running on diesel. So we either go one or two ways really. So if we take this approach and it works, and we can get round 100 or 200 acres of this through the winter and not have to house cattle, then it's probably better than me making 300-400 acres of silage. But we need public opinion on our side as well, because if they see cattle outside and on a flipping wet day they're huddled under the hedge, and then you get reported by the neighbour to RSPCA when the cows are actually more than happy. But public perception, lack of education,
I was going to say it's the education issue, isn't it?
then we're going to be struggling. So then they will have to stay in the shed where it's not a healthy environment. It's not a natural environment.
Okay, I'll start a little club.
But
We could make them blankets.
have you seen the Devon's coat? It's so thick.
Sponsor
Can you imagine that in Nesco? All the cows are coats.
different colours.
It's like yarn bombing.
Your own crochet, your own
I never know who's done it.
If it were,
You could supply the wool as
You'd have to
well.
reduce the numbers of stock, wouldn't you? I mean, at the moment you're quite intensive, and you're talking
We'd
about
have-
a move to a more extensive system.
yeah, you're right there, Richard. But how much is that in-system costing me? I could sell £250,000 worth of machinery just like that.
It's also not rewarded by the consumer. So
Yeah.
when you buy your cheap family meat in Lidl, and you buy a chicken for £4 and you buy a steak for £2, like people don't know what they're buying. So
No.
there's no.
So
like,
we'd be trying to hit a
labeling.
higher end market for the produce. You'd be lowering your input costs. Yes, we would have a lower stocking rate, but we worked in shed. Keep just a suckler cow on maintenance costs about £1.30 a day in shed. Outside with round bales, which are round bale silage, which I'll probably look to do round bale hay and roll it out. round bale silage, so that'd be a lot more expensive than round bale hay, was 85p. So per cow. So if you've got several cows, already you're cutting your costs. So then you can keep a lot less cows and be making the similar sort of money, if any.
Is it just more expensive as the wrap?
Wrapper bales.
Is that what makes silage?
The wrap,
stand?
yeah. It's quicker to make, obviously catchy times, brilliant, but it is an expensive item at the moment. It's about £8 a bale, just wrap and net. And yeah, it's gone up pretty. Obviously the cows you could probably lower it down, but if you're looking at hay, you're just paying for the net, which is about 50-60p.
What about butchery costs? How much have they gone up?
A lot. The last one come back like 800 and
It's like energy costs for them is massive.
yeah, and staff. The last one we put through come back 830 something quid to process, which is hard because I don't like passing it on, but I can sell it to Tesco's for a lot more, and not bother. so that's the bottom of the line. So it's hard to do it. They have gone up, because I think we were around £350-400, so we're a carcass to put through, so we've gone up quite substantially there. Hence why I haven't been pushing it crazily. Piper's Farm are buying a lot from the Devons. They want a slow-growing grass-fed animal, so they're buying. Well, now we'll be doing 3 a week probably till Christmas. We have had a shortage of cattle for the summer, just because maybe a bit slow. We kept more heifers. We usually use the lower end of the heifers for the meat, and we've upped the cow Devon herd, so then we are not using so many dairy cross cows. So out on the common, like you drive over the moor, there'd be a thinner type of cow, and that would be because it's crossed with a dairy cow, so they're not going to stick it out here. They're not bred for it, they're bred to produce milk, so we'll probably try to go for a stronger, sturdier, smaller sort of suckler cow.